There are 7 distinct levels of SEO, and after helping dozens of companies properly implement SEO, like Avayo, who we helped generate over 171 SQLs in their first 11 months, I've noticed that 99% of people think they're doing good SEO, but they're completely stuck at the lower levels, wasting both time and money on things that don't actually drive revenue. I mean, you could be publishing blog posts every week, building backlinks, hitting all the technical checkboxes, and think you're doing everything right. But in reality, you might only be operating at level 3 or 4. So in this video, I'm mapping out these 7 distinct levels of SEO in 2026 to show you exactly where you are and exactly what you need to do to climb all the way to level 7. From the business owner who thinks paid ads are the only real marketing, all the way to the growth architect who's built a predictable, multi-channel organic machine that even generates qualified leads while they're asleep. Starting with level 1, Mr. Paid Ads Only. 0% organic pipeline, obsessed with paid acquisition. So this is the person who thinks the only real marketing is paid marketing. So if you can't measure it immediately, well, it doesn't exist. Their entire growth strategy is paid acquisition. Google Ads, Meta, LinkedIn, everything is measured in ROAS and conversion rates. SEO, on the other hand, well, it's too slow, too uncertain, and to be fair, they're actually pretty good at paid campaigns, but that's all they know. SEO is a very foreign concept, and they've never invested any time to just understand it. And for them, success is quite simple. If the ads are cash flow positive and the business is growing, well, they're winning. But here's the problem. They're building their entire business on rented land. We constantly see ad costs go up year over year, and one day the CAC is $50 and the next day it's $200, and they have 0 organic pipeline to fall back on. And meanwhile, they have competitors who are actively capturing the buyers that are searching for a solution. And to get to level 2, well, all they need is a wake-up call. Either ad costs will spike out of control or the margins will just collapse. And the shift is only mental. SEO is not competing with paid ads. It's just an insurance policy against rising ad costs and a long-term asset that will compound over time. And only once they accept that, they move on to level 2. The traffic chaser. 1 to 5% organic pipeline, just chasing vanity metrics. So this person has decided to take SEO seriously. They're doing a bunch of things, but they have no filter for what actually matters. They've discovered keyword tools and pulled a list of 500 keywords. They're writing blog posts inconsistently. They installed Yoast and are now following all the recommendations and also doing some basic link outreach. They're essentially doing multiple things across the SEO spectrum, but none of it is focused or strategic. So what does winning look like for this person? Well, the numbers are going up. They're celebrating 5,000 visitors last month, even though exactly 0 of them turned into actual customers. And the core issue is quite simple. They're chasing vanity metrics across everything they do. There's activity, but no focus. And without focus, SEO will never compound. The shift to level 3 requires developing a filter. So stop asking how much traffic will we get from this, and start asking, would someone searching this actually be ready to buy our product? They need to understand search intent, prioritize commercial and transactional keywords over the more informational ones, and stop measuring success by traffic and start measuring it by qualified visitors and revenue. Once they develop that filter, they're ready to move on to level 3. The technical obsessive. 5 to 15% organic pipeline, over-indexing on technical perfection. They've developed a filter, they understand search intent now, and they know the difference between informational and commercial keywords. But they're spending 80% of their time in the wrong place. We're talking page speed, schema markup, crawl errors, redirect chains. They're running site audits weekly and fixing every single issue. And they think adding schema will make AI cite them as if it's just another technical checkbox. And they're actually pretty good at technical SEO, but they're so deep in the technical weeds that content and authority building gets absolutely neglected. And they're learning from good people, actual engineers and specialists, which is valuable, but it creates an imbalanced skill set. Success for them looks like a perfect site audit. 90 plus on page speed insights, 0 errors in Search Console, and they've spent 3 weeks optimizing core web vitals from 92 to 98. And here's what's holding them back. In 2026, technical SEO is just table stakes. It's the minimum to compete, but it's not going to win on its own. So to move to level 4, they need to rebalance their time. Technical SEO should maybe be 20% of your effort, not 80. And once they rebalance, they move to level 4. The directionless executor. 15 to 30% organic pipeline, but doing everything without a strategic direction. So now they've rebalanced. They're executing across all the pillars of SEO, keyword targeting, technical optimization, content creation, and link building. But there is no strategic direction connecting it all. They're publishing roughly 3 to 4 articles per week, some about competitors, some thought leadership, some how-to guides, and some product comparisons. They're building backlinks through guest posting and digital PR, and their technical foundation is solid and maintained. They're very busy, they're executing, but if you ask them what's your strategy, well, they'd struggle to answer. But they're not stuck because they don't know SEO. They're stuck because they don't trust themselves enough to commit to just one path. At this point, they're competent across the board. The big problem is just direction. And success looks like activity, lots of it. They published 50 articles last quarter, they built 30 backlinks, traffic is up, rankings are improving for some keywords, but pipeline growth is inconsistent. Some months are great, some are flat, but there's no predictability. And getting to level 5 requires developing that strategic focus and a lot of confidence. And what's the highest leverage thing we can do right now? Then do that thing consistently for 3 to 6 months before adding anything else. And once you start focusing the execution, they move to level 5, the isolated specialist. 30 to 50% organic pipeline, sophisticated execution, but in the wrong direction. So they've built a sophisticated SEO operation, a clear content strategy focused on commercial keywords. They're publishing consistently, all targeting bottom of the funnel topics. But they're obsessed with metrics that look good in reports, but don't drive the business forward. And here's the biggest problem. They're doing all of this in complete isolation. They never talk to a real buyer about what they might have searched before finding a solution. So they're relying entirely on keyword tools and competitor analysis. Every decision is based on what SEMrush tells them to do, not what customers tell them. Success looks something like domain rating is climbing, started at 28, now at 45. They're building 20 backlinks per month from high DA sites. Rankings are improving, traffic is growing, and they might even be tracking AI visibility. But revenue is not moving proportionally, and they cannot figure out why. And the answer is that they're going in the right direction. They just need a lot more knowledge about their best customers. To reach level 6, they need to stop chasing SEO metrics and start chasing business metrics. Domain rating doesn't matter. All that matters is pipeline. They need to build links from sites in their industry, sites that their buyers actually use. They need to prioritize keywords based on will someone searching this become a customer, not what's the search volume. And most importantly, they need to start talking to customers. Sit in on sales calls, ask customer support what questions come up regularly, learn the actual language that buyers use when they're frustrated and looking for a solution. Once they optimize for business outcomes and customer insights instead of SEO metrics and pure gut feeling, they move to level 6. The SEO strategist. 50 to 80% organic pipeline, traditional SEO mastered. So this is where you've nailed the traditional SEO playbook. You understand the game completely. You think in systems, not tactics. They've built a content strategy that targets the right keywords at the right stages of the buyer journey. The technical foundation is locked in, and they've started to understand that customer insights matter more. And at this level, they understand AI's citation model, that it pulls from about 15 to 20 sources, and that frequency of brand mentions actually matters. But here's the key. They're starting to understand that they can't be best at everything. So they're bringing in specialists. Outsourcing content creation to better writers, bringing in a link building agency that has relationships that they don't, and they understand the value of niche expertise. I mean, they still own the strategy, but specialists are starting to execute that strategy. Success at this level means SEO is driving 50 to 80% of their organic pipeline. The systems are working, it's predictable, it's scalable, and sales is happy because the leads are qualified, and finance is also happy because these leads come in at a lower cost. But the landscape is changing fast, and search is fragmenting. People aren't just Googling anymore, they're asking ChatGPT, they're searching on YouTube, they might even find solutions on Reddit. And while they're crushing the traditional playbook, they're not yet thinking about the full multi-channel reality of organic growth in 2026. And to jump to level 7, they require expanding beyond traditional SEO. So you need to start thinking about YouTube, Reddit, original research, digital PR, essentially every channel that builds visibility and authority. And they need to systemize customer insight gathering. And once they expand to multi-channel and build systematic insight gathering, they reach level 7. The growth architect. 80% plus organic pipeline, multi-channel organic dominance. So this is the final boss, the person who's transcended traditional SEO and built a complete organic growth engine. They have all the skills from level 6, content, technical SEO, link building, but they've added layers on top. And they've fully integrated AI visibility into their strategy, systematically building presence across the sources that ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude pull from. And they're creating original research that gets cited, comparison content, and building third-party mentions across review sites and industry roundups. But here's the key. They're not doing all of this themselves. They've built a network of specialists, and they're not learning from anyone anymore. They're actually creating the playbooks that others will copy. At this level, 80% plus of their pipeline comes from organic, and the system runs without them being in the weeds every time. So nothing is holding them back anymore. This is the end game. There is no level 8. This is the combination of years of learning, testing, building, and just expanding beyond the traditional playbook. Now, if you want to learn the exact SEO strategy that you should be implementing right now to start getting more leads and revenue for your business, regardless of which level you're at, click here to go to the next video where I break down the bottom-up SEO framework that we use for all of our clients. This is a strategy that will help you skip the vanity metrics, cut through the top of Google, and actually see real ROI from SEO. I'll see you there.